Man City's win on Saturday night saw them climb above Chelsea and back into the top 4. And Guardiola seems to have turned the season around, now with 4 wins in their last 5 league games. In contrast, Chelsea's struggles continue, with only 1 win in their last 7 league games, falling very quickly behind in the new year. The match between Man City and Chelsea was marked by glaring mistakes that led to goals at both ends of the pitch, but there were some fresh tactical ideas used by both Guardiola and Maresca. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how Pep Guardiola's use of fullbacks completely unraveled Chelsea's pressing system, and why Maresca's decision to deploy 3 players in midfield failed to generate any meaningful chances. Let's take a look. Welcome to talkSPORT, my name is Cormac from Football Meta. Just 1 month ago, Chelsea found themselves 7 points clear of Man City, and if they won their next game, they would have moved first in the table ahead of Liverpool, a position very few people would have expected Chelsea to be in at the start of the season. But fast forward to today, and Chelsea are out of the top 4, 13 points behind Liverpool and 1 point behind Man City, completely shutting down any whispers of a title challenge and exposing some issues that have been swept under the rug. But this weekend's clash with Man City was the perfect example to highlight where both teams are currently at. And it was Guardiola that was able to find some great tactical exploits to find space in behind Chelsea's defence. Man City's reported lineup for this match was a 4-3-3, with new players Marmoush and Kusanov going straight into the starting lineup. But in possession, the formation looked substantially different, and was able to take advantage of Chelsea's 4-4-2 pressing system. With City building their attacks, the fullbacks would hug the touchline and start quite high up the pitch. The centre-backs would split, and the midfield would rotate to form a diamond shape, with Foden usually as the tip and Marmoush starting in the inside left channel alongside Erling Haaland up top. This shape gave City a lot of passing options in the centre, with either Kovacic or Bernardo Silva dropping between the centre-backs to start the move. And most of their progression would happen through the middle before finding players like Foden or Marmoush ready to pick up the ball between the lines. If Chelsea closed off these central options, then as the ball moved out wide into the fullbacks, they had players ready to attack the half space. A great example of the dangers of this system can be seen from this chance in the first minute, with City finding Foden in space between the lines. Foden in this position can't easily be closed down, as Cucurella needs to keep an eye on Núñez on the flank, so Colwill steps off his line to close him down, leaving James and Chalobah in a 2v2 against Marmoush and Haaland. Núñez plays this excellent ball across, but Marmoush isn't able to finish off the move. In an attempt to counter this overload being created on the flanks, the wingers in Sancho and Madueke would be the ones responsible for covering the fullbacks when shifting out wide, with the back 4 starting in a much narrower position to cover the 3 players between the lines. But this would also cause some issues as it would free players in the centre, with either Gundogan on the left or Bernardo Silva on the right having more time to receive the ball and move up the pitch. With the wingers being caught between these 2 players, it led to big gaps for City to exploit. Take this move with City moving the ball on the right flank. In this case, Sancho has picked up Núñez on the flank, while Madueke has moved inside to cover Gundogan. However, this leaves the left flank completely open for Gvardiol to gain ground, and with Man City able to find Foden in space and open up play to the left, James is caught in a 2v1 and has to cover the position of Marmoush, leaving acres of space for Gvardiol to move forward. The wingers not tracking the runs of the fullbacks got Chelsea caught out basically all game. For example, in this moment with Núñez pushing forward and Sancho staying high up the pitch, eventually resulting in a disallowed goal for offside. Or Madueke again completely losing track of Gvardiol cutting in behind for this chance. Eventually, it was the 2 fullbacks that combined their movements to find the equaliser, with Núñez peeling off from Sancho and finding space behind Cucurella, before Gvardiol reacted to the rebound quicker than Madueke. In the moments where Chelsea were able to match up the press with Cucurella or Reece James locking onto the fullbacks, then Chelsea did actually look quite dangerous when regaining possession high up the pitch, but weren't able to convert their chances effectively throughout the match. As City moved into Chelsea's half, it wasn't uncommon to see Chelsea opt for a back 5 defensive shape to cover the positioning of the fullbacks, also meaning there was less density in the centre and made it easier for City to find options in the middle. Chelsea's relatively strong start died out as City gained control of the game, and it became increasingly harder for Chelsea to build their attacks effectively. Their opening goal came after a mistake from new signing Kusanov, who had a really difficult first 25 minutes and did look a bit shaky in possession before slowly finding some confidence towards the end of the half. And Chelsea did have a few opportunities when regaining possession in the first half, with City's offensive shape meaning the defensive line was left exposed. The biggest chance fell for Palmer after Chelsea regained possession, who was played through and was kept onside by Kusanov, but a mistimed pass into Jackson gave City enough time to get back. But when Chelsea had the opportunity to build their attacks from the back, there were some confusing choices in what plays they would look to make. Firstly, when starting from the goalkeeper, the centre-backs would start either side of Sanchez, with Cucurella out on the left flank. But more interestingly was the choice of having 3 players in close proximity in the centre, with James, Caicedo and Fernandes starting essentially as 3 holding midfielders. This then meant Palmer and Jackson would start between the lines, with Sancho and Madueke giving the team width and depth. The idea behind these 3 players in the centre makes sense on paper, as it allows for easier circulation, and once City would close down Sanchez at the back, an indirect pass in the centre would mean Caicedo had space to push forward. We can see an excellent example of this here with James laying the ball off into Caicedo as Sanchez was closed down, and Chelsea can start their attack with space to push forward. But unfortunately for Chelsea, they weren't able to take advantage of this too often, because as City would close down all these players, Sanchez would consistently look for the ball over the top into the offensive set of players, who struggled to get the ball under control and were too spread out to effectively win the second ball. This resulted in Chelsea often giving up possession cheaply and rarely creating chances from goal kicks. Time and time again, Sanchez would opt not to build from the back to avoid the press from Man City, but the long balls over the top never resulted in any meaningful chances. On the few occasions where they were able to get the ball under control, like in this clip here with Madueke breaking past Gvardiol, the front four was so spread out that it's difficult to instantly find the solution, and would require an excellent solo run from the wingers for anything to come from these situations. With Chelsea building from open play, the shape would shift into the 3-2-5 that Maresca has used all season. And barring a few occasions where they were able to break forward quickly, Man City dealt with these threats consistently, and Chelsea struggled to create really dangerous opportunities. Eventually, Man City's control paid off with Haaland finding the back of the net after another mistake from Sanchez in goal, caught in 2 minds and leaving the goal completely exposed for a chip from Haaland. City saw the game off through Foden, taking advantage of another lapse in concentration from the defence. In the end, it felt like a pretty routine win for Man City, confirming this positive uptick in form, and adding more misery and problems for Maresca to address. Ultimately for Maresca, it seems as if the underlying issues Chelsea have been struggling with for the past few seasons are coming back to haunt him, with the defensive line far too prone to mistakes, and still struggling to find a goalkeeper that they can rely on consistently. But Maresca is also receiving his share of criticism, with a lot of people drawing parallels to his time at Leicester, struggling to adapt as the opposition figure out how to defend against his tactics. While his decision making with substitutions is also causing a lot of frustration, often leaving them too late within the game and not changing players that are underperforming in that match. But what did you make of this game? Do you think Man City will get back to consistent winning ways, or are there more problems on the horizon? And what would you change if you're Enzo Maresca? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, I have more breakdowns on my channel, Football Meta. Thanks for watching.